Welcome back, everyone, to Red Spotlight. I'm Alexis. I'm joined by David, of course, here for another trailer reaction to one of the films that we are very much looking forward to, and that's obviously different because lately it's not been all that exciting with things to look forward to, but evidently Netflix has gifted us with a couple of new trailers that we'll be reacting to this week because all of them feature things that we had already had, I think, built-in anticipation for. And for today, we'll be reacting to the brand new, I want to say maybe it's like a teaser. Maybe it's no, this is actual teaser trailer. This might be the longest trailer I think we're reacting to today. This is for Guillermo Del Toro's Frankenstein movie. And look, when this was announced years ago, we were like, yes.
Yeah. Just
and yes.
It should have been him from the very beginning, unlike any, honestly, like Universal monster movie. And then when they started their monster universe, he should have been the first one to call. Which I think I might have heard that they tried to, but things didn't work out. I could be wrong.
Things never work out because studios, quite frankly, they don't really want Guillermo del Toro's whole thing. They want his aesthetic. They want his name. And granted, sure, perhaps Guillermo has like his plans are going to be too much, but I don't know. With the amount of disgusting amounts, I should say, of millions of dollars that they throw away to produce crap, diarrhea, colorless drab for most of their things, I'm beginning to be far less sympathetic from the studio side. You know what? I get the basic economics of it, but when most of your output looks like trash, then maybe you should have just given him what he wanted.
Yeah.
Because at the very least, it would have looked good.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, honestly, it'll be curious when the details come out as far as to what the budget would be for this movie. Mm-hmm. Netflix is known for, throwing out the big bucks. In fairness to them, when they do hire somebody that has a name, they seem to give them a lot of cash. And we'll see how evident that is in this trailer. But as far as like Guillermo has always been like, he's a lifelong like monster fan. And his first movie, Kronos, which came out in the early 1990s, available in the Criterion Collection, was a vampire story. Much, I think, more subtle one, but it's a beautiful story as well. He, thinking about his filmography, his second film, which he made the Weinstein Company, he talks about today as if it was a personal war of his just to get that movie made, but it was like almost like a Monster of the Week episode kind of movie where like these horror, and honestly, to its credit, it's a very disgusting movie because those creatures are horrid, and what they do is horrific. And hey, there's that. But of course, there was another like what kind of monster vampire movie that he made, which was also a studio film. The second film in the Blade trilogy, Blade 2, with Wesley Snipes. And that, he went all the way with that as far as delivering like what his imagination of a monster world is. And if you thought that was enough, well, he made 2 Hellboy films, which then upped the ante even more so. Don't forget his Pacific Rim movie, which is basically his version of a Godzilla, kaiju film.
Yep.
So, if you look back, the majority of his, I think, output has just kind of been building up toward this. And then especially since if we're thinking about like what he has done recently, particularly with, I know he did the stop motion thing with Mark Gustafsson, who unfortunately passed away, I think, last year, the year before. Fourth, the Pinocchio film, which was also through Netflix, which also looked incredible. So good on them for that. But then also, as far as like you're talking about like gothic horror, I'm not sure if it fits gothic horror. I'm talking about Nightmare Alley, but it has a whole vibe to it.
Yeah,
that is just like I feel like if you ask this crowd, our crowd here at Red Spotlight, it's one of the most overlooked and seriously overlooked films of the last 5 years. It's a banger, honestly. And so when you consider all of that and the fact that Guillermo is just making great movies after great movies, this just seemed like a no-brainer. The cast, too. I know it was a little unfortunate that Andrew Garfield had to drop out, but Jacob Elordi apparently was slotted in there, and he's no slouch either. Like, he has been in some pretty great projects, so... Yeah, that's what I remember hearing. Is like Garfield was supposed to be Frankenstein, and then he dropped out, and they had to put in Elordi. So that's going to be interesting. All right, well, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get this started. Let's go ahead and go to the trailer. And let's go ahead and press play. In 3, 2, 1, and go.
I had determined that the memory of my evils should die with me.
I love Oscar Isaac in this. The first image of him coming out of this, like, it's a no-brainer. He was it.
Some is not, but it is all true. What manner of creature is that? What manner of devil made him? I did.
Something I'm already liking. There is color in this. Like, it would have anyone else would have made it super gray, black and white, kind of like how Nosferatu is and all that. But that director specifically for Nosferatu, he plays with the black and white and all that a lot.
That's his thing.
Yeah. But this one though, I love it.
Like, what was that costume?
Oh,
Like...
In seeking life, I created death.
okay. That.
It's everything you would think this movie would be, even if you weren't necessarily expecting it to be. I love how you pointed out the use of color. It's like, yep, that tracks. You are so right that most people, I mean, look, it's one of these stories that's been told so many times. If you give this to a studio and they give a no-name director, they would just make it look all black and gray and in the worst kinds of ways. Nosferatu looks that way, but it actually is different in that it's beautiful because it's well made and you have a person there who knows how to play with the shadows that are required to make that thing look good. Most do not know, and it would be hard to see, and when you could see it, it would be ugly to look at. This was none of those things.
Yep.
Yes, there were plenty of scenes that were at night, but you could see it, and what you could see was nothing less than dazzling.
Yeah, I mean, right away, like, it cuts to a night shot, but you see Victor Frankenstein wearing these red gloves and everything. Like, he's already giving the characters kind of like a character, but also just a, oh my gosh, what's the word I'm thinking of? A presence, I guess, using those colors.
Yes, presence, yeah.
Because this is red. There was a woman there with a green veil on her and everything. So again, it's just like you're already giving these characters character just through those colors and all that, through your own trailer. So,
and it's important to take note of these things because I think that's a part of the puzzle as to why people have this suspicion that things are missing from modern day movies. One of the pieces is that they just refuse to watch anything that's not made by Disney. Go to the box office this weekend and see what happens there, and that's on you if you're that way. But if you go out of your way to watch all kinds of movies, as you should, one of the things that you'll begin to take more note of is if a film is alive, how does a film come to life? And how does it have presence? Well, the way that it looks is like the biggest thing, but also in terms of like the costumes here really pop. And I think they do so, because they're great to begin with, but they're helped by a cinematographer that is bringing this movie to life. And so there's this shot of like this statue with flames behind, that like really stood out. And I'm like, I mean, that's probably going to be one of the year's defining shots, if I'm being honest with you.
That
so you
great.
have that, like, seriously. And also, speaking of that, the sets look incredible. I mean, I'm trying to pinpoint, were there any moments in this trailer that felt inauthentic, that felt more so that we were inside of a special effect environment and less so of a actual physical set?
I mean, I would only guess the snow place, but that's only because
the beginning, yeah.
There's a ship there that, I mean, I'm sure they just didn't want to spend money creating one.
Well,
but they made a set for it on when they're on it and everything. So there's still some differences. And I mean, already though, I can like see. I mean, I'm probably overthinking it, but like connections to certain things within the set, because like in his lab, there's like those green tubes, which I'm assuming it's going to be things that absorb the.
Doesn't that look like Wizard of Oz? It just makes me think of Wizard of Oz.
Yeah,
or
but
the
like
Wizard of Oz, you know.
Yeah, the classic Wizard of Oz. I'm not Wicked, because that one's for sure some CG and everything. But like how those machines that capture the electricity somehow connects it to that woman with the green veil and all that. I don't know, like she is, because in the original like story and all that, I think the woman's supposed to represent like what it means to actually like live and all that. Like I don't know.
Yeah. It's also interesting. I love this. One of the shots that stands out is this woman in what looks to be a coffin, but the coffin itself is just like, what is that?
Yeah.
It's an interesting shape, and then like there's like a red interior, and the rest of it's white, and then the backdrop of it is the white snow, which is just like, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that, yeah, go ahead.
Connections to color. Like, is this supposed to be Frankenstein's mother? I think this is kind of what drove him to want to experiment with death and all that. Some family member died, and then that's kind of what drove him to want to experiment, so he doesn't have to lose any more life and all that. It's like, again, color connecting to the characters. I do love this shot.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, which one?
The one where you see Frankenstein for the first time in the snow, but you know, there's the sun setting in the background and all that. That's like the first shot I noticed. I'm like, yes, there is color here. This is actually, compare this sort of lighting in the background to Wicked, how the sunset, like I guess in that movie looked. Oh my gosh! And you put it they put a close up of Elphaba's face and all that, and she's just great. Like it just needs to contrast more with her face and all that. And it's not that great. Terrible. I hate it. But this one though, like it's perfectly fine for him to just be silhouetted in the back and all that. But this is like hyper contrast of what it means to contrast. It's like differences between your character. This is why
the lighting is very important, because if it's not there, the whole thing. This is why in films, there can be pieces that don't work as well, but like you kind of want it all to kind of be in sequence with each other, because Wicked had great sets. They actually built sets. That being said, there were plenty of moments where that was overpowered by too much CG, but especially none more so than a disastrous photography. The cinematography in Wicked is an unmitigated disaster. Like especially because we've seen the pictures of the sets that they built, and if you just left it at that, it would have been closer to the look of the Wizard of Oz, quite like ironically. And it just is. I mean, like that shot that you mentioned of Elphaba, like she's supposed to be green. You can't tell that she's green. That's bad.
Yeah,
that's very bad. And then also, speaking of cinematography, I know a lot of you bitches out there went to go watch Lilo and Stitch. I'm sure you did. Like, I watched maybe one or two still images. I refuse to watch the trailer. I refuse to watch the movie. But based on the still images, what an ugly ass looking movie. Especially when you compare that to the animation, which, I mean, the still image I'll share with you that I saw was when Nani, Lilo, and Stitch are on the surfboard. And you compare that to the animated film?
And it's not, and mind you, it's
if
not like
you think the live action looks better than the animated one, take your head off, have it examined, and like Obi-Wan said in Attack of the Clones, you need to go home and rethink your life. Because we're not talking about like a sense of like, oh, I actually like it, or, this is artistic. Like, there's nothing artistic about it. There's no difference of opinion here that is, it allows for the space for you to like seriously defend something that looks as ugly and horrible as that. And by the way, I'm using Stitch as like the poster face of it, but it applies to all of the live action remakes from animated movies, especially, and we'll have Dragon in a couple of weeks, which will undoubtedly only reaffirm that. But you can also extrapolate that to all blockbusters at large, for the most part, that just have that same mentality of where you think to yourself, oh my God, this looks ugly. Great, people love that. Let's go. Got the check. That's what it feels like when you watch these movies. It's just like, really? Do they actually think that this gray diarrhea looking ass shit is what sells? And apparently, if you look at the numbers of these movies and what they make, I guess they do. David, sorry.
I mean, in terms of like the Lilo and Stitch surfing scene and all that, we're not looking for like dynamic shots or anything like that, or just interesting, cool shots of the like close-ups of them in the surfboard and all that. It's like, no, we're fine with it being in the distance, looking at them in the center of the screen and all that. It's just there's still things you can do to make it look prettier and more fun and all that. And when it comes to the live action ones, they're not trying to do that. And with this one, I mean, in terms of like camera wise, cinematography wise, sure, it's not interesting. It's not like these dynamic shots. Again, that one with the sun setting and Frankenstein in the center silhouetted and all that, it's a plain normal shot. But the fact that I'm kind of excited about that just on the plain normal shot shows you like why I'm not liking the other movies so much, is because you're not taking advantage of this. And I hate the ones that keep saying it's like, oh, I'm trying to make it look realistic. It's like, no, fuck you, go outside more, go touch the grass more. Because I like to I go on trips a lot. I've been to many places, Japan, Cancun, Mexico, and I like taking pictures. Just check it out. David Sketches, 2 S's on it. There's color on my pictures. I have some amazing shots. There's one I took of a pyramid in Mexico. All I did was take 3 pictures of the same shot. One that's overexposed, underexposed, and one that's normal. You overlay them, and you get, that is basically how it looks within my eyes. That's the closest thing you will get it. And bright, or light blue sky, greenish of green grass and everything. That's how it's supposed to look. So I don't know how to explain it. There needs to be color in this. Stop kidding yourselves when you say, oh, I'm trying to make it look realistic. It's like, that's not realistic. And who cares about realistic? You're supposed to make it look pretty. And if you don't think it looks pretty and everyone else is saying it's not pretty, then it's not pretty.
Well, you heard it here, folks. You heard it first here, folks, that if you're looking for realism in movies, fuck you. I mean, I don't really know what else to say at this point. Look, we're both really excited for this. I'm hopeful that maybe they'll have a couple of theaters where they'll show this. I know that with Pinocchio, they were playing it in a nearby theater, and we had the opportunity to go see it. Because I'm sure it's gonna be
Netflix would be dumb to not put this out in theaters.
Mean, they usually are.
Yeah.
The fact that they're actually making anything good, I should say, as I'm saying is, Netflix is doing some good shit for a change. They release nothing but garbage for the most part. They're kind of almost like the really bad perpetrators for like what all they're doing is adding to the harm being done. And people mostly watch Netflix, and Netflix mostly makes trash, and then we wonder why people are completely media illiterate. Yeah, so I mean, Netflix can go fuck themselves too, to be clear. But thank you for making something good in this case. Because I mean, Netflix, they really fucked up Glass Onion's overall like momentum. They had it in theaters like maybe a week, and then it was just pulled completely. And what they don't realize is that, we made it, and we think it works better in the streaming market. Ultimately, again, this is where when they're a capitalistic animal like Netflix, they do not see the inherent value beyond just the immediate box office returns. Like you could say, like whatever money they would make in like a month would be nothing in comparison to their numbers internationally, world, whatever that means. The point is, and it's been noted for years now, the films that go to theaters have a longer life and have a bigger presence and impact when they go to streaming and digital. I wonder why, as opposed to films who go straight to streaming. Gee, I wonder why I think that could be. Anyway, we'll go ahead and end it off here because we got 2 other reactions to go ahead and react to. So let's go ahead. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for the other 2 reactions on the channel. Bye-bye.
Bye.